Welcome to Macbeth Act V. This is the last part of the show. This is where all the loose ends get tied up. So let's talk about some of those loose ends. Well, first we have Macbeth. He's now the king. He's killed Banquo. He's killed Macduff's family, though Macduff survives. Macbeth is feeling rather confident now, though, because he's been told a couple prophecies that make him think he's going to be unable to be destroyed. Number one, he's been told to watch out for Macduff. Well, he's almost taken care of that. Number two, he's been told that he cannot be killed by someone if they have a mother. Well, that's pretty much everybody. And number three, he's been told that he cannot be destroyed until the Birnam Wood lifts up its roots and marches onto the castle on Dunsinane Hill. Again, that's going to be difficult to accomplish. So Macbeth is feeling full of power. Even so, he's a little bit paranoid. Lady Macbeth, you remember at the beginning of the play, she was very confident. She was the one convincing Macbeth of what to do. And yet, we haven't heard much from her recently, so we'll see how she's doing these days. And that's about it. We'll watch all these loose ends get tied up. Act 5 goes back and forth between Macbeth in his castle and Malcolm and Macduff and their plans to overthrow him. But to start us off in scene 1, we have Lady Macbeth in a classic scene. Here we go.
I have 2 nights watched with you, but can perceive no truth in your report. When was it she last walked?
Since His Majesty went into the field, I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, unlock her closet, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed, yet all this while in a most fast sleep.
A great perturbation in nature, to receive at once the benefit of sleep and do the effects of watching. In this slumbery agitation, besides her walking and other actual performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That, sir, which I will not report after.
You may to me, and 'tis most meet you should.
Neither to you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech.
So in this sequence, in case you haven't figured out, this gentlewoman, who is probably one of Lady Macbeth's servants, and the doctor are talking about Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth has been sleepwalking over the past few days, and while she sleepwalks, she writes a letter of some sort, seals it up, and she also says things while she is sleepwalking. So the two are about to see her perform the sleepwalk live.
Lo you, here she comes. This is her very guise, and upon my life fast asleep. Observe her. Stand close.
How came she by that light?
Why, it stood by her. She has light by her continually. 'Tis her command.
You see, her eyes are open.
Aye, but their sense are shut.
What is it she does now? Look, how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her, to seem thus washing her hands. I have known her continue in this a quarter of an hour.
Yet, here's a spot.
She speaks. I will set down what comes from her, to satisfy my remembrance no more strongly.
Out! Damn spot! Out! I say! 1, 2. Why then, 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. Fie! My lord, fie! A soldier and a feared. What need we fear? Who knows it when none can call our power to account? Yes, who would have thought the old man to have had so much blood in him? Oh.
Did you mark that?
The Thane of Fife had A wife? Where is she now? Oh, Lord, these hands ne'er be clean. No, more of that, my lord. No more of that. With this starting.
Don't you have known what you should not?
She has spoke what she should not, I am sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known.
Here's the smell of the blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Oh.
What a sigh is there. The heart is sorely charged.
I would not have such a heart in my bosom for the dignity of the whole body.
Well.
Pray God it be, sir.
This disease is beyond my practice. Yet I have known those which have walked in their sleep, who have died holily in their beds.
Wash your hands. Put on your nightgown. Look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried! He cannot come out on his grave!
Even so?
To bed. To bed. There's knocking at the gate. Come. Oh, come. Come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed. To bed. To bed.
Will she go now to bed?
Directly.
Foul whisperings are abroad. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds to their deaf pillows will discharge their secrets. More needs she the divine than the physician. God, forgive us all. Look after her. Remove from her the means of all annoyance, and still keep eyes upon her. So, good night. My mind she has mated, and amazed my sight. I think, but dare not speak.
Good night, good doctor.
All right, so this is the final scene in which Lady Macbeth appears, so we have to look at her character fully. You remember in Act 1, she was excited that Macbeth had that prophecy. She pushed her husband to commit a murder. She accused him of being unmanly, and later on, when he had blood on his hands, she said, "A little water clears us of this deed." Look what has happened to her now. She is now sleepwalking, washing her hands in her sleep, screaming at her husband in her sleep. So there's an interesting question here. Do you think that her guilt redeems her in any way? Is she better than Macbeth or worse? Is she more to blame or less to blame? I'm not sure if there is a clear-cut answer here, but something that you should consider. This is the last that you will hear from Lady Macbeth for the rest of the play, and you'll find out why shortly. Let's move on to Scene 2.
The English power is near, led on by Malcolm, his uncle Seward, and the good Macduff. Revenge is burning them, for their dear causes would to the bleeding and the grim alarm excite the mortified man.
Near Burnham Wood shall we well meet them. That way are they coming.
Who knows if Donald Bain be with his brother?
For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Seward's son, and many unrough youths even now protest their first of manhood.
What does the tyrant?
Great Dunsin in he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him do call it valiant fury. But for certain he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule.
Now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him, like a giant's robe upon a dwarfish thief.
So you won't recognize these characters. They're giving some exposition, explaining that the battle is about to prepare, and giving a view of Macbeth from the typical warrior. They're saying that Macbeth is now unfit to rule, and that the robes around him are like a dwarf wearing a giant's clothes. He's a small figure. People only obey him because they have to.
He then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start, when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there.
Well, march we on to give obedience where 'tis truly owed. Meet we the medicine of the sickly wheel, and with him pour we in our country's purge, each drop of us.
Or so much as it needs to dew the sovereign flower. Drown the words. Make we our march towards her.
So scene 2 is extremely short, really doesn't tell us anything new. Likely it would have just been used in order to prepare the set from scene 1 to scene 3. But again, this just reminds the audience of what is happening, tells them about the battle that's forming. They're unable to show the full battle sequence, so they just have to tell you about it in exposition. Let's move on then to scene 3. In scene 3, we move back to the castle and we finally hear from Macbeth. We haven't really heard from him since the beginning of Act 4. Here Macbeth has become more and more paranoid and yet more and more full with power. He knows that nothing can destroy him unless those 3 prophecies come true. So take a look again. Think about how much Macbeth has changed from the beginning.
Bring me no more reports. Let them fly, all. Till Burnham Wood removed to Dunsinane, I cannot taint with fear. What's the boy Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirits that know all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, Macbeth. No man that's born of woman shall e'er have power upon thee. Then fly, false thanes, and mingle with the English epicures. The mind I sway by, and the heart I bear, shall never sag with doubt, nor shake with fear. The devil damn thee, black, thou cream-faced loon, where gotst thou that goose look?
There is 10,000
geese, villain.
soldiers, sir.
Go, prick thy face, and overread thy fear, thou lily-livered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul, those linen cheeks of thine are counsellors to fear. What soldiers, Wayface?
The English force, so please you.
Take thy face hence.
Notice here Macbeth has become somewhat of a bully. He is outnumbered hopelessly, and yet he thinks he'll survive because the prophecies need to come true. When the messenger comes in, he bullies him. He calls him a cream-faced loon, a goose, a lily-livered boy, and a wayface. And then he ends by saying, take your face away. So Macbeth is really picking on the little people here because really all of his power he owes to somebody else.
Satan! I am sick at heart when I behold. Satan, I say! This push will cheer me ever or deceit me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the sear, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age as honour, love, obedience, troops of friends I must not look to have, but in their stead curses, not loud, but deep, mouth honour, breath, which the poor heart would fain deny and dare not. Satan!
What's your gracious pleasure?
What news more?
All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported.
I'll fight till from my bones my flesh be hacked. Give me my armour.
'Tis not needed
I'll
yet.
put it on. Send out more horses. Scur the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armour. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord, as she is troubled with thick-coming fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow? raise out the written troubles of the brain, and with some sweet oblivious antidote cleanse the stuffed bosom of that perilous stuff which weighs upon the heart.
Therein the patient must minister to himself.
Throw physic to the dogs. I'll none of it. Come, put mine armour on. Give me my staff. Satan, send out. Doctor, the thanes fly from me. Comes a dispatch. If thou couldst, doctor, cast the water of my land, find her disease, and purge it to a sound and pristine health, I would applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud it. Put off, I say! What rhubarb sin or what purgative drug would scour these English hence? Hearst thou of them?
Aye, my good lord. Your royal preparation makes us hear something.
Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death and bane till Burnham Forest come to Dunsinane.
Were I from Dunsinane away and clear, profit again should hardly draw me here.
We're going to move right into scene 4 because, again, these scenes start coming rather quickly. Hopefully you saw in scene 3, Macbeth is almost a sympathetic character. Even though he is a bully, even though he is paranoid, you get the sense that he really is alone. He doesn't have anybody that's with him. And he wishes that the doctor could cure his wife and cure his country and perhaps cure him. It makes you wonder if Macbeth is a sympathetic character. Is he a tragic hero, or is he just tragic? Now we go back to Malcolm and...
Cousins, I hope the days are near at hand that Chambers will be safe.
We doubted nothing.
What wood is this before us?
The wood of Burnham.
That every soldier hew him down a bough and bear it before him. Thereby shall we shadow the numbers of our host and make discovery err in report of us.
It shall be done.
We learn no other, but the confident tyrant keeps still in Dunsinane, and will endure our setting down before it.
'Tis his main hope, for where there is advantage to be given, both more and less have given him the revolt, and none serve with him but constraineth things whose hearts are absent too.
Let our just censures attend the true event, and put we on industrious soldiership.
The time approaches that will with due decision make us know what we shall say we have and what we owe. Thoughts speculative, their unsure hopes relate, but certain issue strokes must arbitrate. 'Twas which? Advance the war.
So you notice two key things happen here. Number one, the soldiers realize that it's going to be difficult, but they feel that if they attack Macbeth, all of Macbeth's supporters are going to abandon him and join their cause. Number two, in order to mask how many troops they have, what they've decided to do is everybody in Burnham Wood is going to cut down a tree branch and hold it in front of them in order to mask the troops. Well, think about what that might look like if you're up in the castle and you see 10,000 soldiers moving towards you, all holding tree branches in front of them. All right, let's move on then to scene 5.
Hang out our banners on the outward walls. The cry is still, they come. Our castle's strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here let them lie, till famine and the ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that should be ours, we might have met them dareful, beard to beard, and beat them backward home. What is that noise?
It is the cry of women, my good lord.
I've almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek, and my fell of hair would at a dismal treatise rouse and stir as life were it. I have supped full with horrors. Direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts, cannot once stop me. Wherefore was that cry?
The Queen, my lord, is dead.
She should...
I want to pause here because this is quite a powerful scene. The tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow monologue is one that is frequently used when studying Shakespeare. Here we see Macbeth. He realizes that he is at the end, and he starts to think back to all of the themes and the ideas that he's been talking about this entire time. He talks about fate. How much control does a man have over his life? He talks about time. Is time something which is positive and pushes us forward, or something negative which sort of draws us to the end? What is life? Is life a series of events, or is life just a series of repetitions? Shakespeare brings all of these ideas into play in this one monologue that you're going to hear. I would advise you listen to it several times. So here we go, Macbeth, reacting to his wife's death with the tomorrow monologue.
Have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Thou comest to use thy tongue, thy story quickly.
Gracious my lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but know not how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I did stand my watch upon the hill, I looked towards Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave!
Let me endure your wrath if it be not so. Within this 3 mile may you see it coming. I say, a moving grove.
If thou speakst false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive till famine cling thee. If thy speech be sooth, I care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution and begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not till Burnham wood to come to Dunsinane, and now our wood comes towards Dunsinane. And out! If this which he avouches does appear, there is nor flying hence nor tarrying here. I begin to be aweary of the sun, and wish the state of the world were now undone. Ring the larum bell. Blow, wind, come, rack. At least we'll die with harness on our back.
And so again, Macbeth begins to realize that the witches are not on his side, and neither is fate, and neither is the world. He's essentially doomed. Even so, he's putting on his helmet, he's putting on his armor, and he's going to head out and die fighting. What does this mean? He just gave a big speech about how life is meaningless and doesn't matter, and we're all going to die anyway, but when confronted, he's going to go out and fight. What does that say about him? What does that say about humanity at all? Again, more things to think about. Let's move on to scene 6.
Now, near enough. Your leafy screens throw down and show like those you are. You, worthy uncle, shall with my cousin, your right noble son, lead our first battle. Worthy Macduff and we shall take upon us what else remains to do, according to our order.
Very well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight, let us be beaten if we cannot fight.
Make all our trumpets speak. Give them all breath. Those clamorous harbingers of blood and death.
All right, well, that is clearly the shortest scene in the entire play. Basically, they're ready to fight. Probably just a costume change scene. All right, so now we're going to move on then to scene 7, the last scene of the play. It all comes down to this.
They have tied me to a stake, I cannot fly, but bear-like I must fight the course. What's he that was not born of woman? Such a one am I to fear or none.
What is thy name?
Thou'lt be afraid to hear it.
No, though thou call'st thyself a hotter name than any is in hell.
My name's Macbeth.
The devil himself could not pronounce a title more hateful to mine ear.
No, nor more fearful.
Thou liest, abhorred tyrant. With my sword I'll prove the lie thou speakst.
Thou wast born of woman. But swords I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn, brandished by man that's of a woman born.
That way the noise is. Tyrant, show thy face. If thou beest slain and with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike at wretched kerns whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword with an unbattered edge I sheathe again undeeded. There thou shouldst be. By this great clatter one of greatest notes seems bruited. Let me find him, Fortune, and more I beg not.
This way, my lord. The castle's gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The noble thanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself professes yours, and little is to do.
We have met with foes that strike beside us.
Enter, sir, the castle.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword, whilst I see lives the gashes do better upon them?
Turn, hellhound, turn!
Of all men else I have avoided thee. But get thee back, my soul is too much charged with blood of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword, thou bloodier villain than terms can give thee out.
Ha! Thou losest labour. As easy mayst thou the entrenched air with thy keen sword impressed as make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crest. I bear a charmed life which must not yield to one of woman born.
Spare thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely ripped.
Accursed be the tongue that tells me so, for it hath cowed my better part of man. And be these juggling fiends no more believed, that palter with us in a double sense, that keep the word of promise to our ear, and break it to our hope. I'll not fight with thee.
It's interesting that once Macbeth learns that he can be killed, that Macduff is not born of a woman, at least not in the traditional way, he wants to stop fighting. He wants to run away. Is this cowardly, or is this admirable? Something to think about. All right, let's finish this scene and finish the play.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee as our rarer monsters are, painted upon a pole, and under it, here may you see the tyrant.
I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet, and to be baited with the rabble's curse. Though Burnham would be come to Dunsinane, and thou opposed, being of no woman born, yet I will try the last. Before my body I throw my warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff, and damned be him that first cries, hold enough.
I would the friends we miss were safe arrived.
Some must go off, and yet by these I see, so great a day as this is cheaply bought.
Macduff is missing, and your noble son.
Your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died.
Then he is dead?
Aye, and brought off the field. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it has no end.
Had he his hurts before?
Aye, on the front.
Why then, God's soldier be. Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death. And so, his knell is knolled.
He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him.
He's worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score. And so God be with him. Here comes newer comfort.
Hail, King, for so thou art. Behold where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland.
Hail, King of Scotland.
We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves and make us even with you. My thanes and kinsmen henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland had such an honour named. What's more to do, which would be planted newly with the time, as calling home our exiled friends abroad, that fled the snares of watchful tyranny, producing forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, who, as 'tis thought, by self and violent hands, took off her life. This, and what needful else that calls upon us by the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So, thanks to all at once, and to each one whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone.
And so Macbeth ends as it began, at the edge of a battle which has just been concluded. A tyrant has just been defeated. A traitor has just been ended. So there's a lot to think about in this play, and I'm not going to be able to sum it all up right here, but think about the common themes that we've seen throughout. Think about the common motifs that we've seen throughout. We've talked a lot about treachery, duality, blood, time, gender, nobility. What does it mean to be a man or a woman? All of these things are worth considering as you break down this play further, as you look deeper into the language. If you just watched through all of the videos once, frankly, you missed quite a bit. You can get the general plot, sure, but every speech, every paragraph has some double meaning in it, has some references to other things. So be sure as you go through these videos that you're not just watching, you're not just listening, you're reading all of the advice, you're looking at the footnotes, you're taking everything in. If you have any questions, feel free to talk to me, or feel free to look up more on the internet. I'm sure you can find stuff out there. It's an old play. But thank you for watching the Macbeth videos. I hope they helped in some way. It's different for each person. Have a great day.